Okay, this will be an interesting one. See if we can make this turn up a treat. Thinking this would make a good setting there. Photo paper. Sorry about the shaking. Fuck, I hate it. Trying not to shake. Easier said than done. Okay, let's see what we have. We have here, it's called a power shell. This is the back of it, and that's the hair tie. It's a hair tie, so that's a power shell, or a couple of pieces there. We're going to photocopy it, so we're going to make something interesting out of it. Power shell, P-A-U-A, not P-O-W-E-R as it sounds. I'm actually thinking it might be better up this way, just quietly. But it's called a power shell, P-A-U-A, I think. It's a New Zealand piece. New Zealand, it's where power shell comes from, New Zealand, which is not far from Australia. But it's a New Zealand thingy. Anyway, that looks really nice, that power shell. Don't know why it's called power. It's not P-O-W-E-R as it sounds, but it's still an interesting piece nonetheless. Gonna make it 200, and we're just gonna change it to that. But yeah, power, it's a funny word. I think it is a New Zealand Maori term. But they got some really nice things in New Zealand. One of the things that I learned about from a girl at my school, at high school, was about the hangi, which is like taking fish and other food and burying it in the ground over a fire, over at coals, and it's called a hangi. I don't know how to spell hangi, but it's a Maori, an indigenous Maori thing, way of cooking. I've never tried a hangi, never been invited to a hangi, but I've heard about them. So they bury the food on, and they got like rocks, and they've got like leaves over the top. I suspect banana leaves or something like that. I'm not an expert on all of that sort of shit. As you know, I'm just not an expert. I don't know about this culture. It looks interesting, but it's not what I want. It's not angled nicely. But basically, yeah, it's a hangi. It's indeed a interesting. I'm going to turn it this way. But basically, yeah, it's a New Zealand indigenous way of cooking. Hangi. I don't know what it actually means. I should Google it. That's what I like about Google, is that I can Google all sorts of shit. And even if I can't spell, normally the Google will auto-correct, and if I notice that the word is pretty much how I imagine it to be, yeah, I can basically, use it to correct. I don't know how to spell the word hangi, but I'm sure Google could correct me on it. I'm going to try and move that into the corner. I don't know how this is going to work, folks. Looks good so far, but hungy, indeed. I got that word in my head now. I've never been to New Zealand. I've only just heard about them and seen it on television and in elsewhere, pictures of it. I haven't actually been there, and I'm thinking this looks a bit better. We've still got that, but I don't think we're going to worry about that. That might add a bit of character. But yeah, this is New Zealand, a New Zealand thing, the paua shell. It sort of comes from some kind of crustacean, a shell. That's what the paua is, paua shell. It is, it's some kind of, I don't know if they have them in Australia, but basically they are a very pretty shell from New Zealand. Let's see how we go with that. I think I saw something on television last night. Yeah, I've just started watching television again, folks. I do want to keep track of when I finally go to air, so I have to fucking keep my eye on the television. Pretty much try to watch the primetime news so I can get my stuff out there, or I can see whether it's gone to air yet and get ready to make plans to bug out, because I got a bug out bag and I'm ready to bug out once I find that I'm on air, because I got a lot of people that are going to be angry at me, a lot of rich people, for example, so I'm going to have to hide out. So I've got a place where I'm going. Anyway, that looks really quite nice. I think now we can call this demo quits.